Welcome back to the Geelong Regional Footy Show. Firstly, we turn our attention to Luke McCullough from the Bellarine Footy League and, of course, the Tigers through to the big one.
Yeah, it's time to play the grand final. I'm really looking forward to it, so we'll dig into it a bit later.
We certainly will. Alex Degani from the Geelong District Footy League saw two matches across the course of the weekend. Once again, Tigers successful in one of those games and of course, Panthers, the big cats.
Yeah, well, it's the battle of the jungle cats, isn't it? One through the prelim, the other through the grand final, and there was success for Tigers in all three leagues from what we saw on Monday's Geelong Addy.
Yes, as we introduced Josh Conway, and of course the situation in the Geelong Footy League is of course that big margin in one of those games, which surprised a lot of people.
Yeah, a couple of really big results, both literally and metaphorically, so we'll tuck into that a bit later on.
All right, well, let's start with Alex Degani as we refocus the spotlight on the Geelong District Footy League, and what an amazing record for Bellpost Hill.
Oh, it's astonishing, really, and what's scary is if that wasn't good enough, such a thrilling 1-point win on Saturday, their reserves just dismantled the minor premiers Thompson with a 67-point win in the second semi-final. So we've got two Panther sides into the grand final. I think we saw them Tuesday night this week doing their recovery at Warren Ponds Leisure Link, and they're in the system. Shane Lima, Adrian Fantella, Travis Feslin, they've been doing this since they played Thompson in 08, then East in 09, and then they won against Werribee in 2010, and it just keeps going and going and going. And I think a few people said in about 2012, well, that's about it. They've made 6 in a row. Now it's going to be a bit of trouble for them, but here we are almost 6 seasons later and they just keep doing it, Wes.
Well, of course, last week at the Whitley Medal Count, we saw the Team of the Year announced, and they absolutely dominated the Team of the Year. 7
members of the Team of the Year, and that doesn't include Luke Turner, who had a nomination, doesn't include Nick Costello, who's kicked 52 goals, which, I think if you kick that in any of the other 2 neighbouring leagues, you'd probably make it in your respective Team of the Years. Just off the top of my head, Jack Yates, what a recruit, the young boy from Tasmania, did his apprenticeship at North Geelong. He's come in the side nicely, and they just keep coming and keep coming. But look, speaking of juniors, Wes, not to take anything away from Bellpost Hill, but I was very lucky enough to report on a junior grand final, Inverleigh versus Corio, and I take it you enjoyed those interviews we just saw then?
Yeah, absolutely, and it's always good to see those young fellas when they are in fact young and developing players, and then we'll see them in years to come and they'll be our senior players that we're talking about on Whitley Medal Night.
I mean, exactly. Inverleigh didn't have a Colts side 2 years earlier, but everyone at AFL Barwon put in the work, put the hard work in behind the scenes. They made their way Division 3, got the experience, and then this year Division 4 premiers. Unfortunately for Corio, they had the chance to win. They hadn't won a Colts flag since '95. Back then, your Chris Lorries and your Barry O'Toole's were playing. But it was great to talk to Jai McEwen, Austin Perrott. These are boys who were, when I was in Year 12, house captain at Joey's. They were in my little Year 7
a couple of my mates. They're in my year level.
I was just going to bring that, Luke. Do you have any goss on those boys?
They're good footy players. Haven't seen them play, but they're very well-respected men at school and good mates of mine, so it's good seeing that they won the premiership this year.
I feel a bit bad. Maybe we should have got you to interview them.
Well, we should have, yeah, but anyway.
Bit of tension there, that's right.
Yeah, a good crowd for the grand final. Obviously, we want the Colts grand final at any grade to be played in front of an appreciative crowd.
Yeah, and stuff like this is great for Corio. I know off the field, they've had troubles. I think 4 presidents in the space of 3 years, about 2 different captains. We've now got our 4th coach who's been recruited from London, so that's a bit of a risk. But in saying that, you only had to see all the red and white streamers on the fence, how much they need that success, and they almost had it. They lost a Colts grand final by 11 points 3 years ago. They lost this one by 2 kicks again. But one thing I'll take out this weekend for Corio, they brought those red and white streamers to the netball courts the next day, and somehow I reckon their A-grade side were paying at about 40-1. We don't promote gambling on Channel 31. They somehow defeated Bannockburn. So it's great for the small clubs to tick those boxes outside the senior footy field. But Wes, it's all about senior footy now and talk about big crowds.
Well, we've spoken about, I suppose, half of the equation there, because just to reflect once again on Bellpost Hill's success, to address Inverleigh, who would have gone into the game as maybe marginal favourite.
Yeah, in our tipping competition, 12 of our 15 tipsters in the GDFL record backed Inverleigh, and a few of them also backed Jack Kennedy Hunt for first goal. We have that Colin. He was a 50-50 chance to play. Didn't play in the end because of the quad injury. Hasn't played since round 15, but he did ring me on Monday night, and he said that he will be right against Bannockburn. So he had, I think back on Tuesday night, 2 nights ago, he had the light skills session, and now he's having a run through tonight. Unfortunately, we couldn't get our cameras out to Inverleigh given the weather tonight, but that's all right. We might have a crack next week. So he'll return. Ben Bowman with the ankle might be a chance. But one thing you can guarantee, Wes, even though a lot of us would have liked to see these two teams play in the grand final, but half of the town of Bannockburn will be there. I'm not sure if that includes yourself. Half of Inverleigh will be there, and onlookers from the Geelong region as well. So while we want as many people at the Ballerine grand final, Luke, I'll guarantee you, Wes, this will be a massive crowd.
And of course, that knockout final saw the Bannockburn Tigers successful over Thompson. Was it just a fast start and then keeping them at arm's distance?
Bannockburn had to do one thing: shut down Reece Holler. He's 33 years old, but he's one of the best midfielders in our league. In the end, he still gets 31 disposals. That's a champion he is. Finished runner-up in last week's medal, as we saw in the footage. But they shut down all the rest of the players and their forwards. I think in Monday's paper, Peter Riccardi quoted his old coach, Malcolm Blight, saying our forwards in the first week were just pathetic. Remember that famous Blight he sprayed on his Adelaide players? But, now look at how well they did last Sunday. Kieran Fulton didn't get a touch in the first half. That third quarter, 5 contested marks, 3 goals. Jason Tom, 2 of the opening goals, 4 goals in general, and I think finished with 22 disposals as a tall forward, which is a very good return. So, look, Bannockburn, Inverleigh, there'll be so many matchups, but there's too many to predict. So I'll go for Inverleigh by a kick.
Well, I think you need to tease this one out a little bit further, because I'd like to know a little more about the machinations of the respective sides and how they're going to compare.
Yeah, look, I just think it's the midfield that it'll be one out there. I know that's the broadest term I can use on this intellectual program, but in saying that, you've got a Jervis, a Middleton, a Tyquin, a Broman on that end. In the middle here, you've got Blake Hutchison, who returned after about 7 weeks from his 5th hamstring injury. He still clocks up 20 disposals last week, about 10 in the last term. Who else? Michael Grosdanowski played the best game I've seen him play this year. Mike Best, he's a former tennis star, used to play against Kyrgios and Kokonakis and all those guys. He's brought to the footy field, 26 disposals, 3 goals on the weekend. My mouth's watering, Wes. I cannot wait for this matchup.
Should be an absolute cracker. What a weekend to look forward to in the Geelong District Footy League. Well, there's more to talk in terms of local footy on the other side of this sponsor announcement. Stick with us, won't you?